What's up everybody, it's your boy Steve from the Watch Corner, and today I don't like doing these kind of videos, but you saw the title. So this is going to be this part one of the story on my Breitling Blackbird nightmare. So let's go ahead and get this camera flipped around. I'm going to be sitting outside on my porch so I can be relaxed, and I'm going to tell you about this. Now I want this to be a lesson for others not to make the same mistake that I did. I'm not going to bash the place that I sent it to. I'm not even going to name them in this first part. And remember, part two will be filmed in November at AJ's Average Joe Watch Reviews, because he is wound up in this too, because I'm buying the Breitling Blackbird off of him. So we're going to get his reactions to it when it comes back from Breitling factory service. But this is going to be a two-parter. So let's go ahead and get this camera flipped around. I told you I'm going to be sitting in my chair, and let's get this thing started. All right, everyone. So yeah, this is the video I don't like doing, but I don't want anybody to make the same mistake as me. So a quick wristwatch check. I am wearing the Conqueror automatic beautiful blue dial from Kim Rye over in Canada. This is a prototype with my sister from Belgium's homemade bracelet, skull bracelet she made me, and I'm rocking the Draco London bracelet. So yeah, so I want this to be a teaching tool, not a bashing tool. Okay, so basically we got to rewind a little bit into July 4th weekend. Me and my wife went to spend our 4th of July weekend with AJ and his family. He knows I've been eyeing up this Breitling Blackbird for a while, so of course he brought it out, and obviously I wore it that weekend, and basically he let me take it home to just give it a test run, make sure that I wanted to buy it. So I wore it for about a week. Then after that, the second week, that Saturday, I asked him before I did this if it was okay for me to take it to the jewelers to just get an estimate on how much it would be to get it serviced and polished. Okay, it's a 1990s, but none of him or me didn't know the service history of it. It's vintage. I wanted to get it serviced. Now, full disclosure, it was running fine when I got it. I think it was gaining 20 seconds a day, you know, so not really in official chronometer standards at that point, but not too big of a deal. But other than that, it was working flawlessly, and I wanted to get it polished. So anyway, I took it to the jewelers, and I got to back up 1 second. My coworker recommended me to take it there, and I've seen one of his watches that he had serviced and polished there. It was a Tag Heuer, and they did a beautiful job. So he's like, yeah, don't take it to the other place down the street, their competition, take it to them. So a newer jeweler store. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do that. So I walked in, they greeted me very friendly in there and everything, and I told them what I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to send this Breitling to Breitling service for an estimate of how much it's going to cost to get just serviced and polished, you know. So he looked at me and said, you know, you don't want to do that, because that could end up costing you upwards of $1,000. And I'm thinking, okay. He's like, I have a person that can do that for $300. Now, keep in mind, the Breitling Blackbird, it's a pilot's watch. It is a chronograph, okay? So I was like, okay. Now here is another thing. My watchmaker, Tony, which is the only one besides Brandon from Case and Dial that I trust working on my watches. Basically, I thought, okay, well, maybe they got a guy like my watchmaker, Tony. Now, Tony didn't do this one because it was a special case back remover for this watch. It wasn't one where you could put, you know, the regular case back removal tool to screw it down. And he didn't have it. If he would have had it, obviously I would have let Tony do it, because I trust him 189%. So gave it to them. About, I don't know, a week goes by or 2 weeks goes by, and they call me and say that, okay, it'll be $300. So they did their servicing to it, polishing. I go in to pick it up. What an absolute nightmare. So I went and I picked it up. I paid the $300, that's what it cost. I was in a hurry. I was at lunch at my job, so I kind of looked it over, glanced over, looked okay. Got it back to the office. I took some video footage of it outside to show AJ, and I went back upstairs, and I proceeded to wind it up to get it running. And already AJ's texting me with issues with it that he's seeing from the looks of it. I go to wind it up. I wind it up about 30 times, which, come on, guys, let's face it. Any watch, if you wind up 10 times, should start ticking. And this one, like I said, was running in perfect condition when I got it from AJ. It wouldn't, it took like 30 times to get it moving, okay, pretty much. And then after a few seconds, it stopped. Okay, and it wouldn't work anymore. And then I tried the chronograph, and it started and it stopped on its own without me hitting the pusher. I hit the pusher to stop it, then I hit it to reset it, and it went back, and I noticed that all the chronograph hands were not reset properly. There was a 12-hour chronograph function, I believe a 60-minute, and then you have the 60-second one, okay? Because it has a small seconds hand at the 9 o'clock. So I'm like, oh, crap. Then I look at the bezel, and at this point, AJ had already sent me messages with the horrible job they did on the polishing. Okay, inside of the bezel markers was black painted. They removed all of the paint when they polished it, except for like 2.5 markers. Now, why would they do that? Then I looked at the case, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they did a horrible job of polishing. So immediately I got on the phone with the salesperson and said, look, yeah, there's issues, it's not even working. So I took it into him, he looked at it. He said, okay, we'll take care of this. I'm sorry. And I'm like, keeping my composure, but I'm like, he knew the situation that I was having this lended to me, not even paid for it yet, or even paying for it at this point, that it was on loan from my friend, AJ. So anyway, he says they'll take care of it. He says the owner was getting involved with their company, and they said that they have a guy who is a certified authorized Breitling service repair person. Okay, so I'm like, cool. All right, this should be good. So it gets sent to them. It comes back. They call me. Now, at this point, the watch has been away for 2 months. I go in to pick it up, and immediately I'm looking over the whole thing. Yes, they did polish the bracelet and the case correctly. He re-put the paint in the bezel markers. Super dope. It's winding, pull out the crown, but it's still very hard to wind. And I'm thinking it wasn't like this in the very beginning. Then I look at the 12-hour chronograph, and it's not reset at the 0 position. The other chronographs are. I told my salesman, I'm like, look, man, so he's fooling with it for a while. I call up AJ on the phone. He's like, bro, that's a 12-hour chronograph. And I'm like, to my salesman, this isn't right. This is not right still. I brought it into you guys working, and it's still not working right. So I can't really fault the second guy because he was trying to fix the first person, which is a butcher. My watchmaker, Tony, called the first people butchers. They give little mom and pop, literally professional watchmakers that's certified. My watchmaker, Tony's a master watchmaker and clockmaker, okay? Gives them bad names because of these little butchers, okay? So my salesman says, all right, I'll take it away. Now at this point, a couple days go by, I haven't heard nothing yet, and I call him up and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He said, okay, we are biting the bullet. Remember now, it's come back twice, broke. And we are sending it to Breitling Factory Service. Now, here's an interesting fact that AJ told me. If you look on Breitling's website, to start off for servicing on chronographs, it's $600 to start. So he said, we're going to have to bite the bullet. It's our mistake. We have to make it right, and they're sending it to Breitling. So that is all the updates right now, and I'm supposed to get it back in sometime mid-November, I believe. So it's another 2 months not with me. Now, at this point, I've already paid it off all the way except for $200. Now, I did get a very good deal from AJ, and, AJ's like a brother to me. I don't think of him as a friend. He's like my little brother, okay? I had a younger brother that would have been his age that died as a baby. And I consider him my brother, not a friend. So that's all I got for you guys. Update number 2 will be an Average Joe Watch Review Studios with me. We're going to get all his thoughts of what was going through his emotions the whole time that this all happened. Like I said, it'll be paid off by the time the November one comes out, okay? I'm very proud of myself that I was able to get the grind to get this thing paid because he wants to be out of it. At this point, he's wanting to be out of it with all this going on, okay? I can't blame him, okay? He gave it to me working correctly. It came back butchered. And he wasn't mad or stressed at me. He was stressed in the situation like I was. We both were very upset about this. So look, that's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy this type of content, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm uploading. Comment, subscribe, and thank you all so much. And please remember, time is short. Let someone you care about know how much you love them today, and have a fantastic day. All right, everyone, I forgot. I'm so filled with emotion that I forgot to mention one of the points that I want all you to learn from this. Number one, you could say, well, this is a vintage piece, Steve. You know, I don't blame you for wanting it to get service. Well, you'd be correct, okay? We don't know the service history on it. Number two, do not let anyone send it to a shop. It's not an authorized, the company. Do not send your Swiss timepiece to anybody, but if it's Breitling, Breitling, if it's Rolex, Rolex, if it's Tudor, Tudor, if it's Omega, Omega. Do not let anyone say, I have a guide. No, tell them, no, I want to send it to the company to have it done, because you know it's going to be done right, number one. Number two, they have all the parts that's needed if they need one, even the vintage ones. They have them all there. They have the equipment to work on them. You know, and even Tony was telling me, because it wasn't him fixing it, that he didn't feel good about it. And he even told me, he's like, Steve, you should have just stood your ground and told them you want them to send it to Breitling. So that's a lesson learned on my part too. If I ever get in a situation like this, I'm going to tell them, I want it to go to, you know, whatever the watch company is. So that's a lesson learned on my part. But you can't blame me for wanting to get it serviced. A 30-year-old watch, I wanted to get it serviced so it would be like brand new in the polishing. I didn't expect this because I'm used to my man Tony, who, you all saw my grandfather's 1950 Bulova fully restored. Not everybody does work like him, and they cut corners out. So this one will have a new mainspring, a new crystal, a new screws in it. Everything will be brand new on it. But I just wanted to mention that. So please comment in this and tell me your thoughts, okay? I really would appreciate them. But I just had to come back because I'm so overwhelmed with emotion over this video. Seriously. That I had to come back because I forgot some things I wanted to say.